Thomas Frank's first North London derby, and what a start. In his first North London derby as the Spurs manager, he delivered exactly what was needed, a tactical masterclass that secured a 1-0 victory over Arsenal. First ever North London derby to be played outside of the UK. Pape Sarr's audacious halfway line lob over David Raya became the defining moment. This victory was about much more than one spectacular goal. It was a statement of intent, Frank's new tactical approach, and a glimpse into what Spurs fans can expect from this new era. So what we're going to cover today. Today we're going to break down why this wasn't just another pre-season friendly, analyse the tactical revolution that Thomas Frank has already started, examine the match flow that led to the victory, decode the statistical story behind the performance, and look ahead to what this means for the next friendly coming up against Newcastle. This was a match that was fun, and we're going to unpack all the moves. So stick with it. Now, I think every single fan has the right to be able to say that when you don't have a good pre-season friendly against lower league opposition, that you can say, "Oh, it doesn't really matter. It's just pre-season." And then when you get one of these, that you're like, "Yeah, it definitely matters. It definitely matters." But I don't know, that image of Son holding the trophy. I know they were laughing and joking around, but it wasn't just kind of ceremonial. It kind of represents something. After ending Tottenham's 17-year trophy drought with the Europa League triumph in May, Son declared himself a club legend. Here in Hong Kong, it's another piece of silverware, and even if it was a friendly trophy, showed that the team's hunger has not been satisfied. It's been a bit of a tale of two pre-seasons so far. So while Tottenham came into this match after drawing with Luton in their previous friendly, performance felt like a completely different level of intensity. Frank himself acknowledged the significance, stating it was his first North London derby as Spurs manager, and the contrast was stark. After looking disjointed against the lower league opposition, Spurs delivered a performance that really felt a bit like a cup final against the biggest rivals. And I think for Arsenal, this mattered immensely. That they were further into their pre-season than Tottenham were, having already beaten AC Milan and Newcastle on their tour, and a defeat to their North London rivals, especially in front of a big crowd in a new stadium. Surely that's been a bit of a psychological blow to them going into their season. All right, let's look at the lineup. So Tottenham were in a 4-2-3-1, Arsenal in a 4-3-3. Tottenham had Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Spence instead of Udogie, who was injured, Bentancur, Sarr, Bergval, Kudus, Richarlison, and Odegaard. So I really thought that when I saw that midfield, it was going to be more of a 4-3-3, but it wasn't. I think Frank's sort of lineup that was there, the inclusion of Lucas Bergval as that advanced midfielder, definitely showed a progressive approach, more progressive than I had expected. I actually thought potentially we might see a back three, potentially just so he could test it. But what we saw at Brentford was strong opposition, and he's going to put more into the back line. But we didn't see it. We saw that 4-2-3-1, and I think it looked pretty good. All right, let's have a look at the match flow. I know not everyone sort of likes all these sort of statistical charts and that kind of thing. I actually think this one tells a really good story of the game. So the opening phase saw Arsenal apply a significant amount of pressure, really dominating possession and registering more shots. However, Thomas Frank's tactical setup allowed Spurs to weather the storm through a structured mid-block that gradually gained control of the game, and we'll go into that a bit more in a minute. But the breakthrough moment was on the 45th minute. So Sarr's goal wasn't just individual brilliance; it was actually the culmination of the whole tactical approach. After soaking up pressure in a well-organised shape, Spurs sprung their press when Arsenal were playing the ball backwards in possession, and Sarr won the ball back from Miles Lewis-Skelly. They thought it was a foul and produced basically a moment of magic from just inside the half. Lovely clip shot, really nice. And then we saw something that we probably haven't seen a lot of in the last couple of years: tactical discipline. So after taking the lead, Frank's side demonstrated the kind of game management that made this Brentford team so effective. Spurs conceded possession, but crucially limited Arsenal to just one shot on target during that period of dominance. And this echoed the approach that he was using and perfected at Brentford, where his teams became experts at allowing opponents bad shots from long range while protecting central areas. And I think that his kind of Brentford blueprint was there to see in action, So Frank's tactical fingerprints were evident throughout, but the structured defensive shape that it seemed to be trying to bait Arsenal into shooting from around 25 yards out. And it really mirrored the approach that made Brentford so difficult to break down. Under Thomas Frank's guidance, Brentford became renowned for their compact defensive organisation and the ability to limit high quality chances, a philosophy that he's clearly bringing with him to Tottenham. All right, so let's have a look at the stats. So Arsenal dominated possession with 56% to Tottenham's 44%. They completed more passes with a higher accuracy rate. However, this territorial control translated into remarkably little genuine threat. The stats reveal that Arsenal struggled to convert positional dominance into meaningful chances. So they had 35 touches in Tottenham's penalty area compared to Spurs' 10. Yet both teams managed only one shot on target each. Well, uncounted though. Arsenal's 62 final third entries compared to Tottenham's 46 demonstrated their ability to reach dangerous areas, but Frank's defensive structure clearly limited the quality of those opportunities created from those positions. Like I said before, this really aligns with how Thomas Frank's tactical approach at Brentford made his team so difficult to break down, allowing possession but while controlling space. So we need to look at shot quantity over shot quality. So I'm going to call this the Thomas Frank effect. The shooting statistics reveal that the tactical chess match at the heart of this contest. So Arsenal registered 16 shots to Tottenham's 6, yet created an almost identical level of threat. Arsenal's shot conversion rate of just 6% compared to Tottenham's clinical 16%. Clinical? Well, maybe for pre-season. Perfectly encapsulates Thomas Frank's defensive philosophy in action. Arsenal's 9 block shots compared to Tottenham's 4 suggest that Thomas Frank's compact defensive shape was successfully forcing Arsenal into predictable shooting positions. The fact that Arsenal managed 6 shots from outside the box versus just 2 for Tottenham indicates how effectively Frank's low block channeled Arsenal's attacks into less dangerous areas, exactly the approach that defined his Brentford tenure. The defensive statistics might actually reveal the most telling aspect of his impact. So while Arsenal made 22 tackles to Tottenham's 18, Frank's team achieved a remarkable 83% tackle success rate compared to Arsenal's 41. The efficiency differential demonstrates the structured, disciplined defensive approach that has become his trademark. Tottenham's 9 interceptions versus Arsenal's 5 shows how Frank's pressing triggers worked effectively, while their 54% of overall dual success rate compared to Arsenal's 46 indicates superior positioning and timing in individual battles. Most impressively, Tottenham won 63% of their aerial duels compared to Arsenal's 37, suggesting an excellent defensive organisation when dealing with the crossing threat. I think it was Ange Postecoglou that said, we're not going to be wanting to win games 1-0. And I'm not sure that anyone would love that performance, but the fact is that you are winning 1-0, and sometimes it does have to be a defensive game, right? And I think that it kind of vindicates the fact that you have to be more on your game defensively than we were last year. So these statistics I've just gone through perfectly illustrate Thomas Frank's tactical philosophy in action. His Tottenham team achieved more with less, fewer shots but better quality, fewer tackles, higher success rate, less possession but more clinical finishing. The numbers reveal a team that has quickly absorbed his principles of defensive organisation, tactical discipline, and effective and efficient attacking. The fact that Tottenham's single shot on target resulted in the winning goal, while Arsenal's solitary effort on target came to nothing, encapsulates everything about Thomas Frank's approach. Maximise efficiency, minimise waste, and trust in the tactical discipline over individual brilliance. Arsenal's dominance in traditional metrics like possession and shots and corners and passes ultimately meant nothing against Tottenham's superior tactical execution. A perfect introduction to the Frank era and exactly the kind of performance that made him such a successful manager at Brentford. The statistical analysis reveals that while the scoreline was tight, the tactical battle was decisively won by Frank's structured, disciplined approach, setting the perfect foundation for what promises to be an exciting new chapter in Tottenham's evolution of tactics. So that leads me on to a couple of things that I kind of want to look out for in the upcoming Newcastle game on Sunday. So Sonny. So with Son making a substitute appearance just on the 78th minute, questions remain about his role in the system. If this is Son's final season at Tottenham, his kind of cameo appearance suggests that Thomas Frank is really carefully managing his club legend status, potentially planning for a succession. Odobert looked really good today. Maybe too early to sort of tell anything from that, but we also saw James Maddison return, so that's good. His first action since that injury in the Bodo game back in May. His return to full training in late July, so it suggests he could play a bigger role against Newcastle. I think it would be really good to see how he's fitting into that. And then Matisse Tell, he came on in the 74th, but really went up front. It would be great to see him playing on the left if Sonny is gone. I think he probably is the player in the squad at the minute that you think is going to be the one playing there. And so far we haven't seen it. And I think that's probably just because Solanke, having a bit of an injury, means that he's having to cover up the top. So maybe it's that. The Newcastle friendly will also test whether Thomas Frank's tactical implementation can be sustained over 90 minutes with a bit more squad rotation. So I expect to see a different lineup, and it's going to be a slightly different challenge against Newcastle. You won't have the kind of Arsenal factor there to really motivate the players, because today was not friendly, despite whatever it was called. So yeah, I'm really hoping that a new era has begun. Thomas Frank's first North London derby, and it delivered everything that club supporters would have hoped for. The tactical sophistication that was displayed from the structured defensive shape to the intelligent pressing triggers showed immediate evidence of what Thomas Frank is here to implement. Pape Sarr's wonder goal is going to rightfully grab the headlines, but really it was a story that was a tactical framework that made a win possible. Thomas Frank has taken the principles that made his Brentford team consistently punch above their weight and adapted them to Tottenham's high calibre personnel. The victory over Arsenal wasn't just about pre-season bragging rights, it was a statement that Thomas Frank's appointment represented genuine tactical change for Tottenham. With the Newcastle test coming up, this performance has really set the standard of what Thomas Frank's Tottenham can achieve when his vision is fully implemented. So yeah, really looking forward to this.